Hello everybody, my name's John Lacey. This is Coffee and Content, the live stream about live streaming. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of an issue with the audio there. So hi, my name's John Lacey. This is Coffee and Content, the live stream about live streaming, video, and content creation. Today on the show, we'll be talking all about calls to action. How can you actually get your viewers to take action either during your stream or after the stream? Some of the best practices, some things you might like to consider moving forward. So that's what's happening on today's show. We're going out live to a whole bunch of different places. I think we're on Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, even Facebook. So, if you're watching live, I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. And, do you have any thoughts on ways that you might be able to, encourage people to take action as part of your live streams first? That's some good coffee. So yes, as I say, today we're talking all about calls to action. So how can you actually get your viewers to take some action during your live stream or shortly after your live stream? And part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this week is because I recently saw a live stream on LinkedIn Live, where somebody actually put a link to an Amazon product on the screen. This, basically. And, it was actually sort of three lines of text. And I thought nobody is going to be typing that out again. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that you might like to try instead. So first of all, if you do actually want to send somebody somewhere, think about having a short and memorable link. There are all kinds of link shortening services out there. You might like to check those out, but certainly if the budget allows, think about getting a custom domain for your most valuable products and some of those most important offers and lead magnets. So make sure you actually have that. Make sure it's really memorable and try to avoid exotic spellings unless you really need to use them. And I know sometimes we do need to use them because our domain names just weren't available. Recently I heard about something called Story, which actually has 2 Y's in it. So it's really important if you have a name like that to articulate that and just call it out when you mention it. Say things like that story with 2 Y's. So people know about that. Personally, and I'll share this. Somebody who's a WordPress user, I really like this plugin. This is the redirection plugin. Essentially, I can sort of set up a whole bunch of links at johnlacey.com, and they'll actually redirect and take my audience elsewhere. So think about, if somebody goes johnlacey.com/YouTube, for example, that'll take them to my YouTube channel, or even slash a LinkedIn, that'll take them to my LinkedIn profile. And there are all kinds of services out there. This is just one that I've used and I really enjoy using. So if you can, try to make it much simpler to send people to places. Not only will it help you remember what those links are, but it'll also help other people to remember them. So another thing that you might like to actually consider using is the QR code. Now, QR codes, they're not something I use all the time, but I do hear from other people that they can be really useful. And if somebody is watching your live stream on their TV, on their computer, they may still have their phone free to actually take a picture of that QR code. So I want to talk a little bit about how you can actually incorporate QR codes into your streams. First of all, First of all, Restream Studio have actually incorporated a whole new QR codes tab over here. And in fact, I will move myself out of the way so we can see that more clearly. So we do have this QR codes tab over here. We can actually set up links to different things. We can actually set up links to products and online services and shopping and all those kinds of things. So we have the ability to add a QR code. We can come over here and click the add button. And you can give that a title and a URL, and you'll have the ability to show or hide that title with that toggle. Again, if you want to check out some of these ones I've set up earlier, this one just takes us over to johnlacey.com. We've also got one here for Cute Avalanche, and they sort of sit in the top left-hand side of your screen in Restream Studio. We also, and you literally just sort of click on and off those to hide and show them, to toggle them. But we also have the ability to work with the QR code and image. So again, if you wanted to, we can click on the add button. We can create our link. We can add our primary text. These are both required fields. And then you can also include a little bit of secondary text, and you can upload an image. In this case, I think I've got one that I prepared earlier for the Learn live streaming channel. So if I click on this one, you'll see how that looks. Something else that's probably worth actually calling out is down here where it says live sales. We have a couple of different options. We've got compact, and you'll see there's a great little animation that happens periodically there too to draw people's attention to that particular thing. But we also have classic. So classic will move these over to the right-hand side of your screen. So that actually is a little bit larger. So again, that might be helpful as well. We even have the ability to add other live sales options. So again, if you go add here, you have a whole bunch of different things that you can do. And even if I go back a step, you can connect a store of all kinds. So we've got Amazon, we've got Shopify, we've got other stores, we've got affiliate links. Once you've connected your store, you can actually go in and add some products. So again, I've actually set one up here for Garen Belaney's virtual event checklist. So Garen from Micro Studio, just to show him how this works. So essentially, we can click on that. It gives you the ability to sort of include you actually have to put in the name of it. You do have some secondary text, which is optional. You do have the ability to specify a price, and you even have the ability to actually have an old price. So in this case, this was $47.99, and now it is free. So it's really easy to actually put that up on the screen. Again, you've got the classic or the compact options there as well. So it's a pretty straightforward way of getting started with some of these things like QR codes, and they do have some great animations in Restream Studio specifically. So, if you are a user of Restream Studio, I definitely recommend checking that out. The one thing that's got me a little concerned is when I logged into Restream the other day, it did say try QR codes for free, which makes me think at some point they might start charging for them. But, we do have some other options, so I will talk to you about those as well. So far we've looked at including QR codes in Restream Studio, and also thinking about actually using shorter codes, shorter URLs, and custom domains in terms of sending people to different offers and lead magnets. This is Coffee and Content, the live stream about video, live streaming and content creation. I'm John Lacey. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, if you're watching live, let me know in the chat where you're watching from. I'd love to hear from you. And again, I'd love to hear some stories about how you've encouraged people to take action in your live streams as well. So another thing that you might like to think about is actually bringing QR codes into OBS Studio. So if you've watched me for a hot second, you'll know OBS Studio is literally one of my favorite things in the world. There's a really great script, and basically this will allow you can download this. In fact, if you head over to that article, which you can find on johnlacey.com, we have a section on this. So basically you can go to the OBS Lua QR code source script, and that will bring you to this page. All you need to do is download this, and then we can head over to OBS Studio. So I'm over in OBS Studio now. If I go up to the Tools menu and go to Scripts, I can actually add this new script in. So I hit the plus sign, and I've already put this in here, but it's basically streamqr.lua. And once that's in there, I can hit close. And now I actually have the ability, if I go down to my sources, and again, I might just drag that up a little bit so you can see more of it. If I go down to my sources here and I click the plus sign, I will now have the ability to add a QR code. So we can give our QR code a name, and this is again just for our information, but it's a good idea to make these meaningful names so you know what they are. So I'll go johnlacey.com QR. And basically, this is where my options pop up. So I've got the content to encode the QR code. So again, I would put in my URL, so I can go johnlacey.com. I can also think about changing the colors. So essentially, we've got the theme color and the background color. The theme color is basically the foreground color. So the big thing to keep in mind is that we want to make sure there's plenty of contrast between these colors, and you really won't get any better contrast than black and white, which is what it tends to default. You can also adjust this margin here as well. So we can do that. I'm going to click OK. I'm happy with that. And again, we can think about how this looks in OBS Studio, and potentially, you know, what else we might want to include there. Delightfully, OBS Studio has just crashed on me, which is great. We love that. I'm just going to open it again because there are a few other things I wanted to show you. And I should say that this, as much as I like this plugin, this script, I have found it a little bit temperamental. But let's just bring that back up again. And while I'm doing that, I'll take a sip of coffee. This is Coffee and Content. I'm John Lacey. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're talking all about calls to actions in your live stream. So again, I just wanted to show you, and I might just move this over here. We've essentially used a special script to create a QR code in our scene. I've got this now here. I can rearrange this as much as I like now. So the thing that I kind of wanted to suggest was that we think about really making a compelling offer for the thing that we're trying to promote in this place. So let's think about how we can combine a few different elements to make something that's slightly compelling that we can sort of bring in and out when we want to. So I might even let's actually just put a color source in the background. In fact, I might even use an existing one that I've got here. So we'll just say the dark gray color. I'm just going to move that underneath my QR code so you can actually see it. You know, in this case, I'm actually sending people to my website, johnlacey.com. So let's come in and actually add some text. So I will say johnlacey.com text. And again, we kind of want to give our audience options because some people may want to scan the QR code, but some people might just want to remember the text. So I'm just going to write johnlacey.com. I could come in here and change this text if I wanted to. For the moment, let's just say, let's imagine that's fine. Just tweak that a little bit. And again, I can move these things around. I'd probably want to include some sort of image of me in here as well. I don't know that I've got one ready to go, but I could certainly do that as well. In fact, I will just say, we'll just include an image. Website. Yeah, okay, let's put that in there. I haven't actually planned out this part. And again, we can go and browse for our image. I will just bring this over here. I don't really have anything ready to go, but let me just see what I can find as an example. Okay, so let's imagine, for argument's sake, that this is the image that I want to use. So I can bring that in there, and again, it's on top of everything. I kind of probably want it underneath most things except for my background, and I probably want to think about how just want to drag that corner in without pressing anything else, so it's proportional. So I can think about that. I can bring these things together. Maybe that's a little bit too large. Maybe I want it to be a little bit more like that. So again, I've got I've got some graphics and some branding here. I've got the name of my URL. I've got the QR code. And you can certainly work with all these elements individually. But one thing I'd probably recommend is if you actually come in here and you can hold down the Shift key, select all these items here, and actually group them together. Group selected items. There we go. That's the option we want. And the great thing about this is now that this group is a completely self-contained thing, I could use this on other scenes, and if I hit that visibility eye icon, it'll show or hide that. And again, if you have a Elgato Stream Deck, it's really easy to set up a button to make that really, really simple. And you can potentially have that on top of any other scene. So even if you need to like step away for a moment, you could say, we'll be right back. Maybe you could play some music. You could give people something to do while you're away from the stream. So keep that in mind. That's sort of another great way of actually working with different things. So this is Coffee and Content. I'm John Lacey. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, you can learn all about video and live streaming if you head over to my website, which is johnlacey.com. We have an article about this specifically today, so if you want to head over there, you can learn more about the things that we've been covering here today, and including links to things like the plugins that I mentioned for WordPress and for OBS Studio specifically. So I think the last thing that we should probably think about a little bit is what actually is the offer? What is the call to action? How compelling is it, and how big of an ask is it? Because you don't really want to say, hey, brand new person that doesn't know who I am, would you like to make a $70,000 purchase from me? You really want to step up a little bit more gradually to that. So, what is a simple way of connecting with you? And it may be as simple as saying, follow my content or subscribe, join my email list. Just something to step that relationship a little bit further without asking for the entire world. Again, you don't want to actually in that call to action for them specifically. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. So make sure that you actually do that, because I know sometimes it can be really tempting to want to just go for the hard sell. And especially when you're starting out, it's much more about building relationships and actually communicating with people, helping people with their pain points, making things easy, because life is pretty challenging. So we want to do anything that we can to make our lives easier and make our audience's lives easier. So those are some of the things that I think you should sort of keep in mind. Again, we definitely want to avoid sending them the giant Amazon link or putting it on the screen like that. And just as an aside, I should tell you, and again, I realize I'm in front of this, so you can't make it all out, but I have linked, just for the purposes of this example, I've linked to The Mothman Prophecies by John A. Keel, which is an amazing book, and it was turned into a movie starring Richard Gere and Laura Linney, if memory serves, it's just an amazing sci-fi. I say sci-fi, it was based on real events, but it was very intriguing. So this is Coffee and Content, and I'm John Lacey. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, we try to do these most weeks. I haven't done them for the last couple of weeks because I didn't feel like I had anything to share with you, but I am getting back into the habit of this. You can also join Sam Proof and I on the video and live streaming show, which happens once a week. And again, the best place to probably go for both of these is to go to johnlacey.com/YouTube. And you can actually join the YouTube channel. I might even just make I'll see, well, I'm tempted to make a QR code. Actually, one thing I didn't tell you, and I'm going to take a sip of coffee before I do this, but I will show you a really nifty thing in OBS, which might make your life easier. So this is something I actually learnt quite accidentally recently. So I wanted to share it with you because it's actually kind of amazing. So, if you, I think anyone that's used OBS Studio for any period of time will appreciate that you can take a screenshot of your screen at any time. But something I didn't realize was if I actually come down here and click into my QR code, I can actually right click and go down to screenshot source. So that essentially just takes a screenshot of just that individual source. So if you wanted to just grab an image of this QR code that's generated by this script, and then you can use it literally anywhere else that you want to, you can do that really easily. So you can right click and go down to just make sure that you actually selected it. In this case, I haven't. So there we go. Screenshot source. It'll actually just take a screenshot of it. It'll even tell you down the bottom of OBS where you've actually saved that to. So again, you can't see that on the stream because I've got a grey bar obscuring it, but that's really cool. And once you've done that, you can actually just take that QR code to whatever graphic software you like using. You know, I'm a big proponent of PowerPoints, but you could use Canva, you could use Illustrator, you could use Photoshop, you could use GIMP, you could use literally anything and just build out a scene for various products, various shows, various content, whatever the things that you're calling people to do. And just design a screen, make sure it's the right dimensions. So, you know, whether it's a horizontal or a vertical video, or, you know, wherever you want to use those. So that's a really nifty thing. And as I say, I quite accidentally stepped over that one the other day, but it's just really, really cool. And the other thing too, obviously, you can literally just you can right click and you can just screenshot the preview. So again, that'll be everything that I've got contained in here. So again, it may be a little bit less resource intensive for me just to show an image of this scene rather than to actually show the whole thing. So that's another option that you can consider. So think about, you know, what are the things that you really want to call people's attention to? How do you want them to take action? Make sure you don't overload them either, because that's something we see quite often. It's like, subscribe, rate and review, join my mailing list, you know, read this article, share it with your friends. Like, there are just too many things to remember, let alone actually take action on. So keep that in mind. Try not to get too carried away. And really make sure that you're providing plenty of value for your audience. You're not just asking all the time. Action. And the one thing I would like you to take action on today is to actually head over to johnlacey.com. As I say, you can check out the article. You can watch the recording when it's available. But the other thing too is if you want to connect with me, I've got all kinds of links down the bottom in the footer of my website. So please check those out. I'd love to hear from you, especially if you're interested in video, live streaming, or content creation. I share a lot of tips on OBS Studio, on live streaming, on Restream, all kinds of things really. So if that is something that's of interest to you, then I'd love to connect with you. So please get in touch. Thank you to everybody that's joined us live today, and to anybody who may be watching the recording later on. I hope you found this useful. Again, if you have any questions about live streaming in particular, if there's something you'd like to know more about, let me know in the comments. If I can help you with that, I would, you know, make sure that you're thinking about the kinds of things that you want to create and share with the world, and take some action on those yourself. So my name's John Lacey. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your company today, and I'll talk to you again soon.